later in the show. Now, before we get started, I'd just like to say once again what a privilege it has been to really work with and have John or Y4, the guy that was with me yesterday and last week on Thursday as a guest a couple of times. I mean, it's really just kind of great, when you surround yourselves with friends, and not just friends, like, because you consider them family as well, because you spend so much time with them, you guys just know each other's ins and outs. So, but it's really good to surround yourself with people like that, that are all, for your own goals as much as you are theirs. Now, I say that because who wants, to work a normal, 9 to 5 job and be miserable, okay? When you can actually do something you genuinely love, because at that point it's not work, okay? It's passion. And that's what I think we all need to get to, and I think that's what our generation maybe is focusing a lot more on now, and that's awesome. So, anyways, let's get to, some football, obviously, all right? So with that, are you ready to get your fix? Well, to get things started, we're going to talk about a team that showed us a lot last year and are looking to take that next step forward, the Cleveland Browns. Now, in 2017, 0-16, okay? The dreaded no wins, the second team in history to do that, besides the Lions. In 2018, they went 7-8-1, 2019, 6-10, then last year, 11-5, okay? Now, just looking at those records, I think it's pretty obvious to say that, coaching probably played a major, major part in how things played out and how their season actually played out, last year and the year before that, okay? Because Hugh Jackson, a couple years ago, was their coach. He posted a 3-36-1 record, which is, not the greatest, especially in 2.5 seasons. Now, I don't necessarily think that it was all his fault, okay? Now, granted, he did coach them, called the plays, did all of that stuff, okay? So, yeah, it falls back onto him. But at the same time, I really don't think it is all his problem. I mean, he literally had nothing to work with, okay? And that is the reason they were able to really secure multiple high draft picks later on after he was gone, okay? And that really set them up for some success. And that's what I really like. So not really all Hugh's fault, but more of Hugh's building, if you will. Because, yeah, granted, he didn't do that well. But he got the Browns some draft picks. Baker Mayfield was one of them. They wasted a lot of them on quarterbacks, the first overall picks, which you kind of got to do, but at the same time, maybe it wasn't all the quarterback's problem. And I always thought that. I thought, hey, let the guy get in year 2, year 3, and even though he might not be ready, get someone else on that offense to see, hey, maybe if we get this piece, he's going to get, going a little bit more. But that's just how the cookie crumbles. Then you go to Freddie Kitchens. Posted a 6-10 record 2 years ago. This man proved, and me and John talked about yesterday, he is not ready to be an NFL coach at all, okay? By this time, they had all the pieces that they needed. Literally everybody was there last year. That was the year before, pretty much. So, you look at that and you're like, well, how the hell did you do that? All goes back to coaching on that. That is 100% Freddie Kitchens' fault, okay? Play calling was really just all over the place. They really didn't have a solid game plan, it looked like, going week to week. And nobody really respected Freddie at all. There was a video clip of, I think, Freddie Kitchen was kind of screwing around with Baker a little bit while Baker was sitting on the bench. And when he walked away, Baker was like, what the hell is that dude doing? And he was kind of upset. And it's because he's not a leader. He's not a head coach. Yeah, he could be a good position coach, and I think I noted that yesterday. But he's not a head coach. And that really tore apart the Browns. Not really tore them apart to the point where they're at, no return. But literally, the record-wise kind of tore them apart, where they could have been better. They could have posted a, 9-7 or a 10-6 record. But the fact that coaching wasn't that good was the main reason they didn't succeed or have success. Okay, now last season, the Browns take in Kevin Stefanski. Okay, he led the Browns to an 11-5 record, went 1-1 in the playoffs. Okay, the last time the Browns made the playoffs was the 2001-2002 season, where they ultimately lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers in that wild card round. Since then, it hasn't been, or before then, they were really non-existent. Okay, and then even after that 2001-2002 season, they were really they were garbage. I mean, you've seen all the jerseys with all the the quarterbacks' names listed. Things were pretty rough. Okay, but hey, you made it to the playoffs. Awesome. In a really, really tough division. You got the Steelers, you got the Ravens. I mean, yeah, the Bengals are there too, but at the same time, I mean, they can be tough. It's an NFL team. Now, Kevin came in here knowing he had everything he needed. Okay, and he went out there, let his guys play the way, they've been taught, the way they've learned, and the way they've always done things. And that's a number one thing as a head coach you need to do. If somebody is very good at something, like a particular thing, build on that. Let him do that. Build on it. Get him even better at it. Don't just be like, no, you can't do that, and go somewhere else. Because that, I'd say, is a sole reason and the main reason a lot of kids in high school end up leaving sports. Is because their head coach is too restrictive, doesn't let them go out there and be them. Yeah, if they don't go with the game plan, then you have a problem. But if they're going with the game plan, they're not causing way too many mistakes, they're doing what they need to do, it's perfect. And that's what Kevin Stefanski brought in, to this Cleveland Browns organization. Let them go out there, perform. He was a leader for them. He literally embodies what type of coach you would want for a team. Okay, he's hard-nosed. He's going to go in there and he's going to tell you how it is, and if you don't like it, so be it. Okay, and he also, going from those bad records those years before that, coming to 11-5, something changed. Okay, Baker with Freddie Kitchens, we've seen him talking all the time. I even talked about it. But then Kevin Stefanski comes in. You don't hear him at all. He starts becoming more mature. And a lot of that has to do with leadership and head coaching. Okay, this point is not ownership. Or at this point, it's not ownership. It goes right to coaching. Hugh Jackson, even though was not very good, okay, not a winning coach, gave the Browns the opportunity to get these picks. Okay, Freddie Kitchens just couldn't, for some odd reason, I have no idea why, he just could not keep those guys together per se. Okay, but Kevin comes in here and started clicking, and you go to the playoffs. Yeah, you lose the second game or second round, but hey, that's all right. You guys won a playoff game. Okay, you couldn't even. I don't think they won a playoff game in I want to say it was like 25 years or something crazy. I know Logan Baumgart. We had him on the show pretty much the first day, first real show. He would know. He's a pretty diehard Browns fan, I'd say. I don't know how, but he stuck through it, and guess what? It paid off. Hell yeah, brother. That's all you need to do is keep sticking with them, and they'll get it done. Now, not so sure about the Minnesota Vikings, but because they always seem to get there, not necessarily Super Bowl playoffs, and we won't talk about that because we're on the Browns. So after last season, okay, this team has really gotten better, okay? Not 100%, not majorly better, okay, but they have added some pretty good pieces, okay? They have major depth at literally every position. Okay, the wide receivers, OBJ, Jarvis, Rashad Higgins, even got Donovan People-Jones, and they drafted a guy named Anthony Schwartz, who should be decent. Probably won't see much playing time. If he does, it'd be that at the 3 position, or like the wide receiver 3, have 1, 2, and 3, maybe for a sub kind of guy. You go look at their tight ends, okay? Austin Hooper, Harrison Bryant, David Njoku. Even though David Njoku, I think I'm not 100% sure if it will happen, but I have a feeling it could. I think he's going to end up getting traded here soon. I don't know when, but it has to be pretty soon. And if not, hey, that's a really, really good wide receiver group, okay? Wide receiver tight end group. And if one of them gets hurt, another one can step up. That's great. They have depth, not just at wide receiver and tight end. They have it at running back, Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt. They have it in the line, their whole defense. They literally have, like I said earlier, everything they need. Even with a young offensive line, okay, they could still possibly be a top, 5 to 10, line in the NFL, which is awesome, okay? They got Jedrick Wills. Okay, he's young. This would be his second year. He's pretty solid from what I think. And then you got Michael Dunn, really don't know too much. J.C. Treader, from what I understand, he's pretty decent. Wyatt Teller, he's been a top blocker on this team. I think for 4 years, I believe. Oh, this will be his 4th year, something like that. And then you got Jack Conklin. Okay, he's the most experienced guy on that offensive line. We've seen what he can do in the past. He's pretty solid. He's going to protect Baker with the best of his ability. Okay, so they have a pretty solid offensive line. And yesterday we talked about it. Chemistry is really, really big. Okay, on that offensive line. You all need to be on the same cylinder. Otherwise, that whole play, same cylinder. Jeez Louise. Same page. You want to be on the same page. Otherwise, one play that you're not could be, literally the end of the drive and end of everything for that game. Okay. Now, offensively, this team, well, it's perfect. Okay, and it's really no different on that defense. They somehow ended up going to sign Jadeveon Clowney, and he's going to be paired with Myles Garrett. We know what Myles Garrett's capable of. I had him as my defensive player of the year, and there was one more. I think it was for sure. No, yeah, defensive player of the year. I had him for that. But Jadeveon Clowney, we noticed, or we've known in the past that he's had a lot of injuries. Okay, last year he was all right. Okay, not too standout-ish, but he did all right. Now I think coming to the Browns, since they have all that depth, it's really not going to matter too much if he gets injured, because they do, like I said, have that depth. Okay, but Jadeveon Clowney just adds that other fear factor there for other teams offensively. Now they are still lacking at that linebacker position. They did go draft Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, and from what I kind of have gathered, this guy is pretty decent. But then again, you really don't know what you're going to get until, they play an NFL game, because college is way different. And by now, I hope we all understand that, because college is more explosive, more big plays. You only need 1 foot inbound, stuff like that. Where NFL, it's more fundamental. You need to be strategic, and you're not really you're gonna chip away more likely than get a big 70-yard pass like you always see in college. Okay, you're gonna see a lot of that. But no, they're defensive backs. Okay, they got some depth. Okay, and they have some really young guys who, in my eyes, should be really good. Okay, you got Greedy Williams. I mean, I don't think he played all that last year. I can't 100% remember off the top of my head, but he did all right for the most part, and he's going to be a good piece to that defensive back group. Okay, then you got Greg Newsome. They just went and drafted him. I believe it was their first pick in the draft. Logan, he said before the draft, we're like, well, who do you think he's going to take? And I said, they really need an extra linebacker. That'd be awesome. And then maybe a corner. And he's like, I think they're probably going to take a corner first. Well, hey, he was right. They did take a corner first. They also got that linebacker, I'm pretty sure, right after. So we were on the same page. We knew what they had to do, which is awesome. Just getting those football minds together. That's probably the best part about doing this, is just, going and talking to other people that are especially interested in football as I am, and getting their takes on different things. That is the best thing, okay? I don't know what it is, but talking football just gets me going. Love it. But yeah, Greg Newsome. Okay, then you got Grant Delpit from last year. He really didn't play. Ronnie Harrison's there. Denzel Ward. I mean, they have this depth. They have a lot of talent at that defensive back group. Okay, so they will be just fine. Now, this team also has everything in place, again, to be a contender this year and in the future. I really don't see the Browns, going down, I guess, or how do you want to say it, like, underproduction. They're not going to be underproductive, okay? They're actually going to do pretty similar to what they did last year, from 11-5 to maybe 12-5, or 13-6, or 13-4, something like that. But I'd expect some pretty decent things from the Browns this season, and also another playoff push, and possibly more. I hope they get 2 playoff wins this time. I mean, if they get to the Super Bowl, hell yeah. I'd be super, super pumped, especially for Logan. But I'd also be pumped because what a major, awesome storyline that we could talk about. Because that would just be, it'd be redonkulous, honestly. Now, let's go get to a team that I've briefly kind of talked about, okay? And I really haven't done it too much. We've just talked about, their pieces and kind of what they've done. Now, this is the Buffalo Bills. Okay, they finished 13-3 last season, 6-0 in that AFC East division over the Patriots, Jets, and Dolphins. Did really good. Okay, they've been to the playoffs the last 3 of the 4 years, or They've been in the playoffs 3 of the last 4 years. Okay, they suffered a loss in that AFC Championship game last year to that Kansas City Chiefs with a 38-24. You know, after beating both the Colts in the wild card round and then the Ravens in the divisional round, they knew they were going to have a tough task, especially with how explosive that Chiefs offense was. Okay, really the whole storyline going into that game was, can the Bills keep up with that offensive onslaught that the Chiefs have? And I think they did a pretty well job, okay? A pretty good job. 38-24, not too bad. I believe they were in it for a little bit at the beginning. It's just that literally the Chiefs are that team that if you're going to stay with them, they're going to be close, but eventually they're going to outdo you, and they're going to pretty much be better, okay, or come out on top, and they're going to spread that lead a little bit more. Now look, the Buffalo Bills are right, and I mean right where they need to be. They got an explosive offense that at least I think could hang with the Chiefs a little. I mean, I think they have the potential to do so. Okay, I think Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes are pretty solid and pretty decent players. Okay, they're pretty similar as well. They both have that arm strength. They both have great awareness. They can move on their feet if they need. But yeah, okay, they have that ability to be as explosive as the Chiefs. Also, we've seen that their defense, okay, is capable of doing good things, okay? But they just ran out of gas in that AFC Championship game, which is okay, all right? It's going to happen to the best because they do say defense wins championships. Now, they did last year, but the year before that or I guess in this game, okay, we'll talk about this game, the AFC Championship game between these two, okay? The Chiefs was really more of an offensive threat. Yeah, the Chiefs' defense did stop Josh Allen and them from scoring, which is awesome. Okay, but take in mind, if the Bills' defense were to do the same to the Chiefs, we'd have a lot closer game than it actually happened. Okay, we might be only a field goal. All right, and that's just how, like I said, the cookie crumbles. All right, they got their fix. That's pretty much what happened. Okay, and that's all right. Now this defense has plenty of studs. But it was apparent last year and the year before that they did have some holes. All right? So, with that 31st pick in the first round, the Buffalo Bills ended up drafting defensive end Gregory Rousseau. Okay, this dude was a stud in college, and I believe he's going to do similar stuff that he did in college in the NFL. Okay, I'm pretty sure he was the number 1 or 2 ranked defensive end coming into this draft. This guy is the real deal. Played for the Miami Hurricanes. So he's built his resume. He knows how to play football. So he's more than likely going to start because when I did go look at the depth chart, granted it is, obviously just way too early. They don't know who's going to be where. There was an open spot at one of the end positions. Obviously, I think that's where Gregory comes in, takes over that spot. But they do have other options as well. All right? So just to kind of expect Gregory Rousseau to start for them. Now, they're linebackers. These guys are pretty solid. Okay, especially with Tremaine Edmonds and Matt Milano. Now, if you don't know too much about Matt Milano, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's how you say it. He did pretty solid, okay? He was a really, really good run stopper. He can cover. His zone and man coverage is pretty solid. I wouldn't say it's top-notch by any means, but then Tremaine Edmonds. This guy he's a middle linebacker. He's going to stuff every hole. He's going to blitz at a high rate and touch the running back at a high rate. He's going to be around the ball every single time. Okay, he even has really good hands to the point where if you throw it his way, he could come away with an interception. So, I mean, pretty solid linebackers, okay? They also have an arguably top 3 corner in the NFL, Tre'Davious White. He signed that massive contract at the beginning of last season, and since then really hasn't looked back. He didn't do too good, he didn't start off too hot, I think, last season, but he eventually got, his tackles, his interceptions, they did all that, and actually, made the money that he got paid worth it, okay? Or made the Bills think it was worth it paying him that much. So, I mean, they got people, okay? And not to mention their safeties, who, by the way, are pretty freakish, okay? Jordan Poyer came from the Cincinnati Bengals, 2 years ago, so he played all last season with the Bills, and I think we know right from the start what happened there. Awesome. And then you go look at Micah Hyde. Okay, the dude's wrote his own resume. You know what you're capable or what you're going to get when Micah Hyde steps out on the field. I'm pretty sure he was a long-time Packer, or not long time, but for a couple of years, and then went over to the Buffalo Bills. But with the Buffalo Bills, he's made some noise. Okay, he's going to be a ball hawk. He's going to hit you hard. He's going to make sure you guys don't get, or the other team doesn't get any more than, I'd say, 10, 15 yards, and that's a good thing. Okay, that's what you need at safety. You need somebody that's out there and really, playing 110% all the time, and that's what Micah Hyde and I think Jordan Poyer do. Now, this team, I'd say, is ready to win a Super Bowl. All right, and they are very, very aware of that. Obviously, okay, they made the playoffs the last 3 of the 4 seasons. Okay, the only thing that still kind of doesn't sit well with me too much is that running back group. Okay, I talked about this all last year, how they really couldn't establish that run game. Didn't think it was all there. I mean, yeah, it was there a little bit, and I think it was more or less there probably about 50% of the time. Okay, Devin Singletary is still listed as their starter, which is probably pretty obvious. I mean, the dude is all right. Okay, he only ran for 687 yards, 2 touchdowns last season. Okay, and then you look at the year before, he actually had 775 yards and 4 touchdowns. So his production went way down, okay? Way down. And that solely isn't the reason I don't trust him too much. I just think there's decisions that he could make that would be a lot better. I think he's way too, how do you want to say it? Nervous with the ball, or way too jittery, I guess, kind of like making decisions at the blink of an eye, not knowing that they probably are pretty bad. Okay, he's not going to be that guy that's going to go out there and get you 5-10 yards almost every single play. He's going to be that guy that's going to chip a little bit, give you 2-3 yards here, which is all right. But at the same time, to be a starting caliber running back, you need to post that 5 yards, or at least 4 yards. Okay, because you get 4 yards every time, you're going to get a first down. So if he does that, obviously he can be a lot better. Then they also got Zach Moss. He's listed as their backup. Okay. This will be his second year. He didn't do terrible at all last year, but that was mainly due to, Devin Singletary getting those a lot more reps and doing his thing. Now, only having, I guess, 112 attempts rushing, which I guess isn't terrible. That's pretty decent. I think most running backs have a little bit over 200 or something like that. But Zach Moss had 481 yards and 4 touchdowns. So he was obviously used in the red zone a lot more. Probably a little bit more of a power back than Devin Singletary is, which is, I think, pretty apparent. Now, Zach Moss is going to go out there, I think, this year and do pretty similar stuff. Hopefully he gets more reps. Hopefully he can break, that barrier of being that number one or being the starter for the Buffalo Bills, because who knows what he's really capable of. If he only did 481 yards on, really nothing, because a lot of that probably was red zone. I mean, 4 touchdowns. So we'll see how that works out. But then they also have Matt Breida. Now, I can't remember if they brought him in last year or this year, but I think this dude has the ability to start. Okay, Devin Singletary is just as talented as Breida. Breida might even be a little bit more talented. Okay, Breida's quicker, and to me, he has a better ball carrier vision than Devin Singletary. I'm not really 100% sure about Zach Moss, but that could all come to play later in the season. But Breida, if he starts, I feel it's going to give the Bills a better chance to win more games. Okay, probably not too much more. I mean, 13-3 last season. You can only be 14-3 to be better than that, or 15-2 and stuff like that. Because you got to be 13-4. You had more losses, blah blah blah. So it's going to be kind of tough to win more games than last year. But I think he gives them a better chance to stay closer in games and actually try to pull away with those wins, and really help the Bills make that Super Bowl run, make that playoff run. And really that's all it comes down to, is a Super Bowl. All right? Who wants it more? Who's going to go out there and say, you know what, this is our year, let's get it done. But there's really not much more to kind of talk about for the Bills, okay? Other than just know that they are going to make the playoffs and another playoff run. I don't know how deep they're going to go in the playoffs. I just know unless New England somehow, blows everybody out of the water again, and because I mean Julio Jones came out, and I don't know if it was Julio Jones, but apparently they kind of narrowed his list down to the New England Patriots and Tennessee Titans, which awesome. But if New England gets him, it'll be interesting how that division plays out, the AFC East. Okay, so really just know that they're going to try to make that playoff run, and they're going to be a hard team to beat. Okay, they're right up there with the Chiefs in hardness to beat, I guess, how hard they are to beat. Now, before I get to this last piece of news, there was an even bigger news today on the Pat McAfee show. I don't know if you guys watched it now. If you do, it's an awesome, great show. Love it. But this show is obviously way better. But, hey, Adam Vinatieri, greatest kicker in NFL history, and he decided to retire. He called it out on Pat McAfee show today, and that is awesome. Now, for all you kickers out there, there's probably one guy that really stands out in your mind. That's probably Adam Vinatieri. This guy literally embodies what it is to be a kicker. Awesome, awesome career, Hall of Fame career. Dude leads the NFL in whole NFL in points. I'm pretty sure. I can't remember. I know he did break some record before, but the dude is, I mean, look where he is. Greatest kicker of all time. I mean, you could put other kickers up there with him, obviously, but I think Adam Vinatieri, when you hear that name, you just know, oh yeah, okay, yeah, he's definitely a really, really good kicker, one of the top. And I mean, this guy's kicked in snow, kicked in rain, kicked in everything, and the dude didn't, I mean, he rarely missed. And Pat even talked about it. When you miss a field goal, the reason why kickers get in slumps is because it's so hard, to get back on page, because he said it's like literally this big, okay, of like a point on the ball that you need to hit exactly in order, for it to go the way you want it. And if you miss it, it'll send it off probably course by a foot, okay? And so when kickers get in that slump, they're trying to find that spot again, and they just can't find it, and they dig themselves deeper. But Adam Vinatieri, every time he missed it, he didn't give a shit at all. And he just went out there and kept doing his thing, and guess what? He's the greatest kicker in NFL history, and he's going to be a Hall of Famer here really, really soon. All right? Now, with that, I'd like to say thank you for one hell of a career. It was awesome to watch. You got the Patriots, my boy Brady here, some more hardware to put on his fingers, which was awesome. But yeah, it's going to be hard to kind of mimic him or be better than him or be someone just like that guy. But for now, we'll see what happens, I guess. But awesome, hell of a career. Adam Vinatieri, greatest kicker of all time. So with that, enough with that mumbo jumbo. Do you guys remember when Phil Mickelson and Tom Brady took on Peyton Manning and Tiger Woods in a game of golf? Well, it's happening again, okay? But this time, it is different opponents, okay? It's going to be Phil Mickelson and Tom Brady, obviously, because they won last time. They're going to be taking on Bryson DeChambeau and Aaron Rodgers. Now, this is going to take place on July 6th. I'm going to, absolutely. Now, this is the first time this has happened. So this match, I guess you should say. It's not the first one, obviously. But it mainly happened due to COVID when sports weren't here. All right, and they weren't really taking place. The UFC was the really only thing going, and it still took them a little bit to get on their feet. But I absolutely love this, and I am definitely not one to watch in golf. Okay, I did not watch the PGA Championship Tour because I know if I turned it on, I won't be paying attention at all. For some reason, it's just, I can't do it. I mean, yeah, I'd love to play it. I could go out there, hit a few balls around, big old club, and, send them out there and stuff, but it's not one for me to watch. And for those of you that do, kudos to you. You guys have the most patience in the world. I don't know how you do it, but I know my grandma, she is a very, very big Tiger Woods fan. She always had to watch it, and so I kind of know a little bit, not too much at all, to be honest. I just know names. But I absolutely love this, okay? However, now the way they really presented that match with Tom Brady, Phil Mickelson, Peyton Manning, and Tiger Woods was really just awesome, okay? Where you really got to learn the process of the professional golfers, okay? They really just, they talked, they would send it, they had a mic up to their mouth or whatever, and they'd go in there and they would talk about how they hit the ball and why they hit the ball the way they did, and even before their shot, they're like, well, if I hit it like this, hopefully that wind will bring it back and stuff. And it was really kind of nice to, have them pick their minds and see what is really going on in there. Because if we don't play golf at all and you're not at the professional level, it's kind of like, or even if you do play golf, but not at the professional level, you could take this advice to be, a learning experience. I mean, I learned a lot of stuff I had no idea, all right? I couldn't tell you off the top of my head right now what it was because I'm not a golf fanatic. So, I mean, that really tells you how much I learned. But if you're a golf fanatic, you're going to take that, you're going to go outside, you're going to try to put that to use. All right? So, I think that was a really, really nice thing, especially, you also got to see two professionals that are in a different sport, really just try their luck out in a different sport. All right? See what they got. It was kind of, it's intriguing, especially with those big names, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning. I mean, much more big can you get? I mean, yeah, Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers are obviously going to be pretty big too. But, I mean, it was awesome to start it out like that. This made it literally very, very entertaining. Okay, I love that you got to see, a lot of good things. And let's not forget that Tom Brady shot, by the way. The dude had on his third shot, wiggled up there, stood up. Just hacked that bitch in there. Put it right in the hole. It's because he's the greatest of all time. Not just at football, but doing everything and anything this man can. Jesus, almost tipped the table over. But this man, there's a reason they call him the GOAT. Alright? He pretty much told Chuck to shove it. How do you like them apples, pretty much. It was awesome. I love this. It is really, really awesome. He just crushed it on that third shot. I don't know how it hit the what is it called, the green, the putting green, and it just rolled right in there like it was like there was a string attached to it and someone was pulling it over there. I mean, it was awesome. I mean, he's the fucking GOAT for a reason. You know it. I know it. Let's move on, okay? Now, this time around, it's going to be, at least I think, just as exciting. I mean, I really don't know what to expect because now with COVID kind of somewhat being, gone mysteriously, even though it's still here, it's still a real issue. Fans are probably going to be there, so it's going to be a lot louder. I don't know if we're going to get that access to the players as much. I hope to God we are, because it was really what made it. It literally brought people who didn't watch golf, including myself, to watch golf and actually enjoy them. See, Teddy, he's like, hell no, I ain't watching no golf, regardless of who it is. But that is, it's going to be really interesting, okay? And I really hope that they keep that same format going forward, because the only thing I hope to God doesn't really happen is, would be the reporters, okay? Really asking Aaron Rodgers literally a million questions about his situation with the Packers. And that is something I do not want to happen, because a good example of this, and I sent it to John because the other day we were talking about, if you're ever interviewing someone, be genuine, be yourself, ask them a question you really want to ask them, not a question that is really mainstream, okay? And yesterday I seen some guy ask Conor McGregor in a press conference recently, and he said pretty much, he brought him back to a quote from 2013, a very emotional quote from him, and it actually got Conor McGregor crying, all right? And to ask somebody not a business side of a question, ask them something that actually means something to them, or something that means something to everybody. In 2013, Conor McGregor really didn't have anything. And now, in 2021, he has everything. And I think being as genuine as you can be and just asking good questions, not, this is golf, this ain't football. Don't ask about the Packers. Don't ask about his situation. Just leave that out of it. And I think it would be a lot better. I think that's going to be a big point, even though there's going to be those reporters that slide in there and are just, hey, so I hear you're leaving the Packers. When he has never even said that. He said, I'd like to be out of there. Stuff like that. So I am just really, really I'm super excited for this one, okay? And I promise you, my boy, Tom Brady, is going to win, all right? He ain't going down. I mean, dude has 7 rings. He's 1-0 in that professional The Match game. I mean, can't be beat, all right? That's all right. My boy Brady and Phil Mickelson over there are going to beat Bryson DeChambeau and Aaron Who's Your Mama Rodgers. I don't even know how that's going to happen. But I think Aaron Rodgers is actually pretty good at golf from what I've heard, I guess. He goes out there and slings the ball, maybe. I guess, not 100% sure. I mean, he plays football for a living, and then he hosts Jeopardy. He did this time on the off season. So we'll see kind of what happens there. So, hey, kind of a short show, but I thought it was, straight to the point. Felt like it went really smooth, all right? We'll hopefully get longer, but this is my show. This is what I do, all right? If I want to end it, I want to end it. And that's all we pretty much got for you guys today. That's all I really wanted to go and talk about. And yeah, hey, we are over halfway through this week, all right? And slowly making our way to that first NFL season game. And I'm so pumped. It starts with that Hall of Fame game, I believe, on August 10th or 12th, something like that. So that'll be exciting. I'm pumped. I'm pretty sure it's Pittsburgh Steelers, Dallas Cowboys. I can go check on that to make sure I'm 100% correct. But with that being said, thank you guys once again for tuning in. Like always, we'll see you tomorrow. And you just got your fix with the Wicks. But thank you guys once again.